I have played Alien Isolation every single damn chance I've gotten, Ben Moore. I played it at E3, died every single time I played it. Played it at Comic-Con, did not die. Well, maybe died. I got sucked down an airlock at the end of it, so maybe died. But you got a meaty chunk of this game. I am jealous.
Yeah, I played a little over 3 hours, and I've kind of done a 180 on the game. I played it at E3, and it felt rough. The alien did some stupid things, like he would just kind of stand in one spot when it was clear that he was supposed to be patrolling around looking for me. He would run into a crate and he would just keep running like an idiot. And I was like, I don't know, this whole game is built on this alien being menacing, being a threat. In my 3-hour demo last week, this is now my most anticipated game of the year. I was super impressed. I loved every second of it, and it's exactly what I wanted the game to be.
Well, what do you like? Bring it on.
So,
I know what I like.
I feel like there have been some okay games with aliens in them, right? Like the Alien vs. Predator PC games, the Alien vs. Predator. Was it Alien vs. Predator? There was an Alien beat 'em up, or was it just Aliens? I don't remember.
I think it was Alien vs. Predator, the side-scrolling beat 'em up, the Atari Jaguar game I was a fan of.
But not a single game, in my opinion, has captured the feeling of that first Alien movie, where the alien is this advanced life form that can just completely mess you up. They've done that in Alien Isolation. So I have a little bit of a story. I kept dying. I was dying again and again and again. I'm like, this is a super hard game. And then the person came over and they said, oh, actually, the demo defaults to the hardest difficulty level. Turn it back down to medium.
Okay.
And then once I turned it back down to medium, I was able to kind of breeze through it. I wish I would have kept it on hard. Because in hard mode, you're crawling around this spaceship. Any misstep, any miscalculation, the alien is right on top of you. It's so much faster than you. It can kill you in a hit. It's been a long time. It hasn't been since Amnesia that I felt like this malevolent force is so overpowering. You feel inferior to it, and that's what I love. And it comes across as this really, really smart entity.
What I found at the Comic-Con demo is that it heard you. Always.
Always.
Like,
right.
If it's near you and you're like, oh, it's kind of around that corner, it's like, no, you wait until it's gone and then do whatever you got to do. Because like if it's anywhere remotely close, like you're asking for it every time you pop out.
Brandon,
just like you would in real life. If you were in a room and that thing was walking around, like you would find some place, you would duck, you would stop breathing, and you would wait until you didn't hear it anymore, and then you would keep on going.
There are so many smart design choices in this game.
Like. Let's get into specifics. Get into the deets.
So the motion tracker is brilliant. I love the way that they implement it here. It's really your only way to tell where the alien is. But you can only, if you point it in the direction of the alien, you can see it on sort of this radar, but only for a very short distance. And if it's behind you or to your side, it'll just be like, yeah, it's kind of nearby. That creates such a great feeling of tension. Even when it's on your radar, it's hard to gauge exactly how close it is. And when it's off the radar, because it can only track for such a limited range, it still might be relatively close. It still might be a bad idea for you to go out. So every single action you do, there's always this sense of uneasiness. It's not like a lot of stealth games, right, where you're like, okay, they're not in alert anymore. It's safe for me to move forward. I always felt like I was second-guessing myself with every single decision I was making. And in a survival horror game, I think that's a great attribute. The other thing I really like is they make the alien a constant presence. There are times where if you remain hidden well enough, the alien will give up and will go look for prey elsewhere on the station. But you can always hear it climbing in the vents.
Right.
Regardless of where I was, I knew that the alien was around me. And at least on the hardest difficulty setting, if I got dumb and made a bunch of noise, he would pop out of that vent and kill me instantly.
One thing I liked about the motion tracker, other than the focus effect, is great.
Yes.
I actually told them at Comic-Con, I'm like, it's tragic that I never saw any of your game because it was all out of focus because I was constantly having that thing up. But when it's in front of you, you get kind of like a sustained like just a focused like safety beep that's just kind of like, okay, I'm picking up something, you're reading it. When it gets off that little square and it's behind you and it's like to your right or to your left or behind you, it'll light up the bottom in one of those directions, showing that like you need to move around if you want to know specifically where this guy is, like in that short distance that you were talking about. And that beep is a little more intense.
Yes.
It's kind of like being in low health in Zelda, where you're just like, I know. And there were a lot of instances where I knew it was to the right of me, but it was on the other side of like a doorway. And so like, I'm gonna take the chance here and just try to get away from it. But like my sensor's like blowing up because it's like, I don't think you realize where that thing is. And like that, again, just like the sound effects, hearing it walking around, hearing like the sound making creaks and weird noises, just added, to that tension of just like, if I run for it, I know this little, device is gonna freak out because it's gonna think I'm in danger.
Something that I respect about the Silent Hill games, especially Silent Hill 1 and 2, is they never go for cheap thrills, right? Very rarely do they have something pop out in front of you. They sort of build up this uneasiness with the radio, where, I don't know if you're a Silent Hill fan or not.
I've played them, yeah. I literally just got done talking to Mike Huber about Resident Evil, and definitely played more of those. In
the Silent Hill games, you have this radio, and when an enemy is nearby, depending on how close it is to you, the static noise from the radio will get louder and louder and louder. And so it just kind of induces this panic where it's like, something is here, but I can't see it. It's that same sort of feeling I get in Alien. And I honestly, except for Amnesia, haven't felt in another survival horror game since.
Did you have any story breaks? I definitely had those in the Comic-Con demo where one instance I opened up a door and she kind of took control for a second so she could focus on like what I needed to look at. And like I saw the tail go up into the vent. So you just kind of introduced like it's in this room. There was another area where I was talking on the microphone and again it like took over. I lost control and she was like kind of picking where to look. Did that take you out of it? Did you like that?
I didn't mind it. The sequences are so short that it's kind of a nice little breather, I guess. But
like an achievement. You're like, oh, I made it. I finally made it to the story moment.
And there's another thing with that I want to get to really quick. But as far as the structure of the game, I will say it's very predictable. And it's in my demo, in the 3 hours that I played, you'll have somebody on an intercom being like, okay, this person is injured. Go find them a health kit. So you try to go to the medical bay. And it's like, oh, it's blocked off. Well, go around. Oh, you need to get in an elevator. And so you go and you find the elevator. Actually, the elevator's broken down, so find this part to fix the elevator. It's a lot of that sort of structure where, oh, look, your path is obstructed. You have to sneak around, and the alien's there. But it doesn't matter. The core gameplay is so good and so intense that that stuff isn't an issue.
And I mean, that's Alien.
Yeah.
That's that first film. Like that's what these guys are dealing with. They're all engineers. So they're all capable. They all understand how the ship works. Like in the final moments where like unfortunately everyone but Ripley's being wiped out. They're all in the process of like going and picking up these equipment and like doing their jobs. So you would have to fix the elevator. Maybe not you because you're this special character. You're Ripley's daughter. But people aboard the ship, like the elevator being out, it's like, hey, welcome to space. Like that's just how these stations work. It's not that far fetched, but yeah, it was kind of predictable. Like but I don't know. It's kind of fun when you're playing a survival horror game to like see that moment where it's just like, oh, just go in that room, and you're like, I don't want to, and you can tell like I can see what you're going to do. It is so predictable, but at the same time, it's making me tense because. Like you're Silent Hill, like I know something's coming. I know you're gonna grab me when I get in there.
The alien is so powerful and can just kill you so quickly that when you get to your supposed objective and they say, actually, you have to go a little bit farther, you're just like, no! It does create that feeling.
And screams really loud.
Yes.
Like when he sees you, like freaks out, screams, like makes it very high-pitched, creepy.
Are you a fan of the ink ribbon save system in Resident Evil?
I've never like despised it, but it is a little clunky.
Okay, because in Alien Isolation, something that I really respect that they did is there are no autosaves whatsoever. You have to get to specified save stations.
Yeah.
And it's just a little thing, but I like how they contextualize it. You don't just go and hit a button and it's like, do you want to save? Ridley has to like Ripley, not Ridley, Metroid. You have to insert this card, and the 3 lights will beep, 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 and you can get killed while you're doing this.
Right.
But I really like that because every single time you see a save station, it's like a sign of relief. And you have to make these sort of tactical choices where it's like, okay, I know there's a save station if I backtrack a little bit before I go on to my next objective, or is it safer for me to just go for it? Like, saving is something you have to think about. It's not something guaranteed. And during my 3-hour demo, there were times where I died, and I had to redo a whole section. It was like, no, I should have saved. I should have taken the time to go hunt for a save station. And I love that. It just makes it that much more intense, and it makes dying more consequential when you can't just rely on a checkpoint.
Of the times I've gotten my hands on there, when you die, you lose quite a bit.
You do.
And it's, so you definitely have that tension of, you'll go through areas stealthily, even though I don't see anything, just because, because, like, again, always crouched, always out of focus.
It's a hard game.
I got annihilated at E3, and I don't know if I just wasn't getting it, and then I, one run through at Comic-Con, I made it all the way through. But and one time I got grabbed at E3 from a vent above, and I'm like, I don't know how I could have possibly seen that coming.
Yep.
Maybe I just wasn't listening, or maybe shit happens. Who knows?
Right.
But unforgiving in parts.
It is.
For sure.
During my demo, so the alien isn't the only threat. I'm sure people probably know that by now. But I encountered this group of, I don't know who they were, but they were bad guys with guns who I didn't want to run into.
Interesting. Yeah, didn't even get into any of that.
And I successfully avoided them. What I don't like about some horror games is it seems like you're the only thing the monster cares about. Mm-hmm. Not true in Alien Isolation.
Awesome.
And this you can actually avoid this. The alien somehow found these guys, and in the distance, I heard everyone dying. And I came back through, and it was just a sea of corpses. The alien, had killed all of them. And I like that. I like that you can... There was another time where I reloaded the save, and I went back through, and I shot one of the guys, knowing that the alien was right above me. He instantly popped down, and they turned their attention toward the alien, and I was able to get through. And I love that dynamic. I love how you can manipulate other things in the space station to your advantage. I think that adds a tremendous layer of depth to the game.
So 3 hours is a pretty good time, to spend with the game.
It did. It felt like a lot. Whereas at E3, I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. I need more time with it. I can't wait, Brandon Jones.
So based on that 3, you think that they can make a whole game of this? You think that pace won't be something that gets old, or won't be something that, again, people will be frustrated by these checkpoint breaks, that it's just like, oh, I just lost a whole half an hour because I was trying to get to that spot.
You brought that up. I think there are going to be people out there that don't like Alien Isolation because at my demo, there was a bunch of other people sitting around me, and I saw people get aggravated. There's a guy next to me, he was cursing, and he got up to go get food or something. I think there will be certain types of people that play games that it will be too frustrating. They won't like losing all that progress. But the reward is so great. There are times where you just keep dying, and you're like, what if I approach it this way? And it works, and you feel that immense gratification. If that sounds appealing to you, I think you will like it.
You like being tortured in games. I've noticed this. You like your Shovel Knights, your Dark Souls, your Alien Isolations.
I like when a challenge feels surmountable, but I just haven't figured it out yet.
And worth it. So you get through it, and it's like, I did that because I did that well.
Right.
And not because of some stupid luck factor and stuff.
Right. And I mean, if you just sort of went through the game, would the alien be of any consequence? It would just be another enemy. It wouldn't be this terrible monster.
And one final thing to wrap up really quickly. Gorgeous. Amazing shadows, really cool aesthetic. I really like how monitors that you're supposed to use are lit, So everything will be green, but they'll be really bright green, and it's kind of that harsh chemical burn on your eyes to look at some of these monitors and manipulate some of the HUD and stuff.
Yeah,
and that alien itself, just gorgeous. It's kind of fun to just stare at it.
Definitely. It's a great looking game. It's always impressive to me when you can make something based off a movie that's so old, but it doesn't feel old. It's just sort of new again, and it's the very desaturated, and they have sort of this filter over everything that looks great. Yeah.
So we just need to get Harrison Ford for a Blade Runner shooter, and then we're done. And then we've just wrapped up the best of the 70s, and we can move on.
If only, man.
If only. But I get a feeling I'll be hearing more about Alien Isolation from you, Ben, in the future.
I hope so.
You got bit. You got
we
bit
don't
by the
get
alien.
survival horror games like this enough, and
Yeah.
to have one potentially be what I want it to be, that's exciting.
I'm pumped. Yeah, one of my favorite games of October. So
Definitely.
we shall see.
Thanks, Brandon.
Is there anywhere safe left on this station? That creature's running around, and the Seeks and synthetics are less than friendly.
Goddamn androids.
Ripley. Taylor needs attention.
Medical's a no-go. We can't take her there.